Hey guys, so today I'm gonna give you 3 tips to save you a lot of money and heartache if you're doing a big remodel project. So we're just now wrapping up a big cosmetic remodel of a new house that we purchased, and we'll be moving in here in just a few days, and it's been a long 4 busy months, and I've learned tons of lessons throughout the whole remodel project. And I wanted to share 3 tips with you that's gonna save you thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars and a lot of heartache. Tip number 1 is get multiple bids for every project. This would be applicable if you take on the role of a general contractor yourself, which is what we did. So sure, we could have hired a company or a GC to come in and manage the whole project, but it would have cost us a lot more. So instead, we kind of hand-selected the vendors for each specific project and then managed them throughout the scope of their work. It is a lot of work, but I think that the money savings does justify the extra effort. So tip number 1 is get multiple bids for every project that you're doing, and then negotiate the prices that you get. So as an example, for flooring, painting, carpets, cabinets, countertops, the roof, instead of just calling the first company that you find online or that somebody recommends and hiring them because you had a good impression, I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but if you get multiple bids, you might find that there's a pretty significant discrepancy in price. One example would be our roof project. So we got 3 bids. One bid was significantly lower than others, which was tempting, but the company did not feel very credible. Then the company that we really wanted to use was still at, I think their bid was $23,000, and then the highest one was way higher than that. So we, after getting all 3 and talking to them, we knew we wanted to go with the one in the middle, but I just went to them and just told them kind of where we at, just saying, hey, we got another bid that was much more appealing. We want to go with you. We trust you. We can accommodate your timeline. Would you be able to do any better on the price in order to earn our business? And they came down $4,000 just because I asked. And the truth is, I would have used them anyway. But just by asking the question, you're able to save a lot of money. And that's no different for every other project. I'm not saying that you should nickel and dime every single vendor, but do your due diligence, get multiple bids, and then make sure that you're getting the value that you pay for. Okay, so tip number 2 is very clearly define the scope of the work and what is included and what is not included when you hire a vendor. But I think the most common is when you run into if materials are included or not included, right? Some bids we get, even for tile as an example, right? We got some bids where they say, hey, this includes everything, you just have to pick out the tile and we'll include the grout and the hardy back and everything else. Some others give you a price just for labor. And there's often I've found a bit of a gray area about what's included, what's not. So, and I've learned that mistake with some of the vendors, right? We pick a vendor, we start the project, and then halfway through, I guess they ask for some money for materials or something, and we thought it was included. So it just kind of creates a lot of confusion and then no one wants to really kind of be dealing with mid-project. Make sure you very clearly define from the start what it is that you're getting if you select a certain vendor. Okay, and the third tip is when you hire a vendor, make sure you very clearly understand the payment terms. Some of the guys will ask for some money up front to be able to purchase the materials in order to do the job, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some other guys will ask for 50% up front. Some other vendors did not ask for any payment until they're completely finished. So it's all over the board, but make sure you understand that, because with some of the vendors, what we ran into is we would kick off the project, they would get to work, and then at random times, they would be asking for some payment or some money in order for whatever reason, for some supplies or something else. And there's been many times, again, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things if they're doing a great work and if I trust that they'll finish the whole job. But what I did learn is that in some instances, if I gave them too much money throughout the project or upfront, it seems like it kind of took away the incentive for them to finish the job promptly. I've noticed that things just kind of would drag out, and if they already got a big chunk of the payment for their work that they would have gotten anyway, maybe they take, you're not as big of a priority on their list of projects. And everybody's very busy, so just getting vendors in here and to show up on time when they're scheduled has been a challenge all the way throughout. And in some cases, like I said, if I paid too much of the overall project cost before the project was 100% completed, it would be much more difficult to get them to come back out. So instead, if it was defined on the front end, I would be fair. Whatever's agreed upon, we pay early. And then if the majority of the payment is delayed until the project is fully completed, I feel like they would be a lot more incentivized to get in here and get it done sooner rather than later. So those are the top 3 tips that come to mind, and there's hundreds of other things I learned through this whole project. So if you have any questions about anything in particular, feel free to reach out to me anytime, and I hope that you found this helpful.